Well, in the United States, Trump has gained significant support from Arab voters, particularly in the crucial swing state of Michigan, making his stance on the Middle East even more critical. Meanwhile, on the diplomatic front, tensions are rising. The UK, under Labour leadership and the Labour leader Keir Starmer, has moved to limit arms sales to Israel, a notable shift in foreign policy.
Well, joining us now to discuss this and more is Husam Zomlot, the Palestinian Ambassador to the UK, live from Al Arabiya's bureau in London. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, congratulations from Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. He said, "We will remain steadfast over our commitment to peace. We are confident that the US, under your leadership, would support the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people." What are your hopes and aspirations for Trump's second term?
It's exactly that President-elect Trump will deliver on his promises during the election campaign, and that's why he gained the support of many Arab voters, pro-Palestine voters, that he promises to stop the killing, quoting him, and to bring peace to the Middle East. The issue here is that we don't have much time because the scale of the killings, Israel's mass murder and destruction in Gaza and all over the occupied territory, cannot wait for Trump to assume office in January. We need him to intervene now to deliver his promises, and time of the essence. And also we want to make sure that a new page is based on solid grounds, as President Abbas said in his congratulation letter, that it must be based on a fair, just peace that would fulfill the inalienable and legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, as opposed to previous attempts of bypassing the Palestinian issue, which is the core issue in the region, and rather push the Palestinians towards further compromises that emptied the very concept of self-determination from its meaning, and turned the idea of a state of Palestine into a Mickey Mouse state. Now we need to learn the lessons of the last 8 years, 9 years, and we need to start afresh, and we need to make sure that we actually do stop this carnage that Israel is inflicting in Palestine and the region.
You talk about starting afresh and a new page. Mahmoud Abbas is still there. Donald Trump and Mahmoud Abbas they go back quite some time now. Do you think a new approach is also needed by the Palestinian authorities? And what do you think that new approach is then?
Well, I was the Palestinian ambassador to the US during the first Trump administration, and I can assure you that our policy, our strategy has always been engagement. But we do not engage for the sake of engagement. We engage on the basis of actually resolving the Palestinian issue in accordance with international consensus, in accordance with international law, and first and foremost, to fulfill the legitimate rights of our people. First is the right to self-determination, and second, the issue of refugees and resolving their issue in accordance with international law. Now, we've tried that. I was there to organize the first meeting and visit by President Abbas to Washington, and the meeting with President Trump then and his administration. And that was not the only visit during that time. And our engagement was tailored towards that, because President Trump at the time promised peace. However, what we received was not exactly what we would accept, and we made our position absolutely bluntly clear. We reject any attempts to bypass the Palestinian issue, to undermine the Palestinian issue, to push the Palestinian people and leadership around, to blackmail us. And therefore, we hope that that message was delivered very clearly after all these years, and that when President Trump says he wants to make peace in the Middle East, he knows that now peace does not mean that people have to give up their rights. Peace means that people achieve their legitimate rights. And that's why we would always extend our hands should the other side ready to engage in that journey. And we always say that we are ready to make that journey towards peace. Our position has been consistent, clear, and it couldn't be clearer now. especially in light of what is happening in the last 13 months of this genocide, mass murder, mass destruction, utter disregard by Israel of the basic human, let alone international law, human value, I mean. And therefore, this is a time when we need an American president that would rein in the unhinged Netanyahu and will deliver that promise that he will stop the carnage and bring about peace. So answering your question in a nutshell, yes, we would extend our hands if we find a partner that would really want to deliver this long waited for peace in the Middle East.
So in saying all of that, what will be your approach to Donald Trump, knowing his character and the history?
Well, we don't deal with characters and history. What we deal with is the US, and the US has democratically elected a president. And therefore, we respect the democratic process in the US and we'll deal with it as such. What we need to do is to make sure that that engagement is constructive, that engagement is based on representing our people and the legitimate rights of our people and the legitimate grievances of our people. Our people are wounded. Our people have gone through a genocide over the last 13 months, and not just in Gaza, all over the occupied territories. And the world is following what is happening in Jenin, what is happening in Jerusalem, what is happening in Hebron, and all over the place. Therefore, our engagement has got to be based on a US position that is clear, to be in alignment with international law, with international consensus, clear that it wants to establish a state of Palestine, clear in its alignment with the region. And you have followed the latest initiative by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the global alliance to establish a state of Palestine, to end Israel's occupation and colonization. So if the new administration goes with that, of course, they will have partners in us.
If Donald Trump manages to do this and end the conflict in Gaza, which is one of his key pledges, even bring about some sort of a long-lasting peace settlement, he'd obviously be succeeding where many others have failed over many years. And we've heard Hamas saying in the last couple of hours that Donald Trump should learn from Biden's mistakes. I'm wondering whether you share that opinion and what those mistakes are that Hamas is referring to.
No, what we need to, I don't know what Hamas said, but we need to learn from the mistakes of many decades. This is not just the last 4 years. We need to learn from the mistakes of the last 30 years, where the US was the sole mediator in a failed peace process, simply because the road ahead was not clear. While the US asked us, the PLO, to recognize Israel as a state, we were never recognized as a state. And that never leveled the field. And then Israel interpreted that as a license to actually encroach. And the rest is history, because the settlements quadrupled. Many are saying the possibility of a two-state solution has been undermined. What we need to do now is actually not just issue statements and words, we need deeds. We need action. And the action begin with stopping the genocide in Gaza, as President Trump promised. And it goes immediately after that to visit the root cause of all this. The root cause is very well known to the world and to everyone. The root cause is the illegal occupation, is the illegal colonization, is the besiegement, the subjugation of the people, is the system of apartheid that is imposed on the Palestinian people for decades. And especially following the ruling of the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, only a few months ago in July, that Israel's continued presence in the occupied territory is unlawful. All of its settlements are unlawful and must be dismantled. And any third party must cease immediately, including the US, any material, legal or political support to Israel. So in light of all this situation, what we expect from a US administration is very clear. There is no time to waste now. And we do not expect President-elect Trump to wait until January. That will not be delivering his promise. That will be the worst start, because people are losing their lives by huge numbers, as you all reporting. And no, their livelihoods is being destroyed, so we need it now. And this is the real test. This is the real test of leadership, this is the real test of statesmanship, and this is the real test to actually deliver on the bigger promise of delivering peace in the Middle East. And I assure you, the road is very clear. I mean, there is no other conflict in the history of conflict that has such clarity, has such consensus globally of how to resolve it. The problem is in the political will. So the lesson that we need to learn, all of us, that we need to learn that the US cannot just sit there as a mediator while they are completely and utterly backing one side. This dishonest brokering has got to end, and the US has got to bring itself with the rest of the world to implement international consensus and resolution rather than to enforce and dictate on the Palestinian side.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. That was Husam Zomlot, the Palestinian ambassador to the UK.